one of the things which probably not a lot of people know about is we have a really large lab. We call it GTL, the Game Testing Lab, that has dedicated engineers that kind of test all the nooks and crannies, so to speak, of the PC hardware space. Many game developers, in fact, have far less machines than we do. In fact, we probably have one or maybe even two more orders of magnitude of machines that we test. There's 800 machines in our lab, and we've written a big automation infrastructure so that we can take a game and run it on roughly 800 permutations of hardware and software to help test for bugs, to help test for performance, to help test for optimal playload settings, and then we give these reports back to the developers so they can tune things and make the adjustments and we find a huge amount of bugs that way. So there's machines globally. They're running 24/7. Like I said, we built a big automation infrastructure so that we don't necessarily have to have one engineer per 800 machines. We don't have 800 engineers in GTL, but they can farm out jobs to literally hundreds of machines. So you see the Santa Clara in Moscow. These are just rooms full of machines. So then we produce these reports. So this is a compatibility testing report. It goes through GPUs tested, configuration matrix. I mean, that's a pretty complex matrix that you see there. Games bugs found, picture the bug. Sometimes it'll be a game bug, sometimes an NVIDIA bug. If it's an NVIDIA bug, of course, we'll file it and get a fix, that kind of stuff. And these are just a few pages out of a sample report. It tells the developer exactly how to reproduce the bug, if there was a bug, so they don't have to spend the time triaging. It just says, go to this point in the game, on this piece of hardware, on this driver, this happens, and then we'll help them fix it. And then optimal playable settings, as I said, this is this, again, test space, crappy frame rate graphs, min, max, average pendant frame rates. We'll have we'll test the image quality space with and without anti-aliasing, varieties of resolution, shadow quality, pretty much all the different quality settings that the game allows. We'll test that entire space and try to come up with which we feel is an optimal setting for any one particular set of hardware configurations, and that's a big space. So you get this report at the end. And that helps game developers not necessarily have to always ship the lowest common denominator settings in the PC space. They can ship, and the game can auto-detect, oh, you have this kind of CPU with this much memory, this kind of graphics, we'll just put the default settings, it'll be something reasonable. So, because a lot of game players won't actually fiddle with the settings themselves on the PC, they just want to put the disk in, hit install, and then play. So it's, again, trying to just make the experience better on PC. To some degree, what we're really trying to do is get a console-like experience where you just put the game in and play, but with all the benefits that the PC can bring to bear. More horsepower, all the cool variety of things and input devices and all those kinds of things that you can get in the PC, but with that super easy experience of the console.
Yeah, I mean, this one actually shows, this is Tiger Woods, and the upper picture is the default setting that would have been there out of the box. But because we ran this test, you can actually, on 8500 GT, for example, you can actually up the quality. You can see the water is much better.
Reflections in the water.
So they took that information and put that in their own matrix. So now, when they detect 8500 GT, they can go straight to that setting, which really makes a big difference for quality.